Hello, everybody. Welcome again. Episode 10. We did it. Double digits. Sports and shorts of sorts. This is Ren City. Rennie Riquet. Welcome. Thanks for coming. Like I said, episode 10. We're doing it. So, just like every episode, we're going to rock the jerseys, right? Number 10, that's a real badge of honor in the footy world. Usually given to the best or most dynamic player on the pitch. The aura of number 10 starts with arguably one of the best to play. That would be Pele. May he rest in peace. He passed away in December 29th, 2022, just a few months ago. He was one of the best to ever lace him up. He was recognized by like a lot of the best players as their idol and people they looked up to. Three-time World Cup winner. I'd always hear from my opa and my dad growing up just how amazing he was. A little before my time, obviously, but yeah, everybody knows about Pele. He's considered one of the best ever. But I guess if you're from Argentina, you might think someone else is the best ever. A lot of talk about this man, Diego Maradona, because Napoli just won the Serie A this year, and it's the first time they've won the Scudetto since Maradona helped them win in '87 and '90. And Diego Maradona, like two of his biggest goals ever, came up against England in the '86 World Cup, and two very different goals, different for many reasons. The first, they call it the hand of God because he went up for a header and did like a Super Mario punch. Just threw that hand up there, a little extension of a header, if you would, and it went in. And there was no VAR back then, obviously, but his second goal is why people regard him as one of the best. He picked it up in his own half, went all the way through the entire English team, and scored it. It's one of the best goals ever. If you go on the YouTube, look it up. Maradona goal against England. You might see the hand of God one, or you might see this one, and that just kind of showed the polarizing figure Maradona was, but one of the best ever. And like I said, it's a big number in footy. So some other big names to wear it. Zinedine Zidane. Some might just remember him for his headbutt in one of the biggest games ever, but one of the best to play. Ronaldinho, another Brazilian great. Francesco Totti, Zico, Rivaldo, Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Some might recognize him from the MLS when he was playing in LA, but world class player. Lothar Matthäus, Roberto Baggio, in the '94 World Cup, he's the one that skied it over the net to lose to Brazil. That's one of my earliest soccer memories. Alessandro Di Piero, Wayne Rooney, Luka Modric, Neymar, and current World Cup champ Lionel Messi, who he wears 30 for PSG right now, but he wore 10 for Barcelona and Argentina. And yeah, footy's so big in 10, but outside of footy, like in basketball, Walt Frazier, New York Knick legend, who was part of those last title teams, and DeMar DeRozan, rocking his jersey right now. He wears 11 for the Bulls right now. Bob Butterbean Love, cool nickname. He's got his number 10 retired with the Bulls, so that's why he wears the 11. But my wife got us these matching DeRozan jerseys years ago. And yeah, we've been together 9 years, my wife and I, this weekend, so love you, babe. But in the NFL, you have two great quarterbacks, Eli Manning. Some are like, was he great? He has two Super Bowls, so that's pretty good. And Fran Tarkenton, another dynamic running quarterback. And if you go to wide receiver in today's game, you got Tyreek Hill, DeAndre Hopkins, two amazing receivers. Go to the diamond, Chipper Jones, Atlanta Braves, great, real great baseball player, and Guy Lafleur if you go to the ice. So number 10 is a pretty dope number, I'd say. But we'll go from the jerseys to the wildness of the sports week. Usually I jump right into like second round or something, but there were two pretty big stories. I just got to get out there quick. NCAA basketball, you're like, why are you talking that right now? Well, Coach Bob Huggins from the University of Virginia decided to go on a radio show in Cincinnati where he used to coach until he was dismissed for a DUI. But that's a different story. That was a while ago. But he went on there and he started dropping some language that, I heard on the playground a lot, but, people don't really say nowadays. And, yeah, people on the radio show didn't even stop him. They rolled with it. They loved it, promoted it. And it's, just hateful speech, really. Like it used to be cool. Well, I don't want to say that, but it was more acceptable to talk like that. But to have him come out and just start blasting off, and especially on a live radio show in 2023, it's. I'm not saying that he should be rolling like that in private, but I don't know. He went on and posted a statement saying, I shouldn't be talking like that, and I accept fully any consequences coming my way. And many were calling for him to be fired. He's a legend in West Virginia. Excuse me. Like he's done everything there, and they love him. He's in the Hall of Fame. Like he's a well-known big coach, and yeah, he went on and said, I'll do whatever I got to do. And people blasted him on TV saying that, this guy cannot be a coach, an educator of young men to talk like that. But, a few days passed and Bob Huggins, he's keeping his job. He's returning next year. He'll serve a 3-game suspension, and they're taking $1 million off each year remaining of his contract. So whatever his contract is, they're plucking $1 million from it. So I don't know. It shows you, depending where you are and what your history is, will kind of dictate your outcome. I guess that's in anything, but I didn't see that coming. We'll see what happens with this. College fans like to rile up opposing teams. We'll see. We'll see where this goes. Season's far away, but before we jump into the NBA playoffs, like I said, there's another big story. This one was in the NBA. Ja Morant, man, what are you doing? Ja Morant's acting like Ja Rule right now. Like, he was in a Instagram live clip, I guess. I saw the video on Twitter. He's just, with his boys driving. They got some music going. They're pumping, and then the camera goes back to Ja, and he's got a gun out again. Like, man, he just got suspended for 8 games by the league earlier in the year for an Instagram video of him in a strip club, or was it a nightclub? He was in one of the clubs rocking a gun. And then, he did what these athletes do when they get caught. They say the right things, I'm going to do my thing, go to counseling, and he had this one-on-one interview with Jalen Rose where, he said all the wrongdoings, how he's got to be better for his team, and yeah, that seemed like ages ago. But the rumors have started, and I've heard different things. Like they're saying a lengthy suspension. I've heard even half a season. I don't know. This is pretty big, and people are asking him to be dropped by Nike because Nike dropped Kyrie Irving for sharing that anti-Semitic film. Like, just where to buy it. Like, I know we shouldn't be doing that, and that's promoting hate, but they canned him for that. They gotta can Ja Morant, I believe. You can't have this guy repping your shoes and flashing guns unless, I don't know. It's a very weird scene, and like the Grizzlies have already t- let Dylan Brooks go because of their maturity issue, and he's off the team, and you still have this happening in the off season. Just like Friday, the movie. How you get fired on your day off, but. I don't know, man. It's interesting. We'll see what happens, but wow, hope Ja figures his shit out. He's like 23 years old, one of the best young players in the league, one of the best players in the league. He's got to figure his shit out. But anywho, second round wrap up in the West. Denver Nuggets did what they had to do, going to the Western Conference Finals. CP3 was injured, as we've heard that before. DeAndre Ayton missed Game 6 with his rib injury. But man, that Game 6 was bad. They were down 30 points at one point again, much like last year's playoff exit when Dallas Mavericks did it to him. So that's back-to-back years. Kevin Durant called it embarrassing. He gave his praise to Jokic, but you could see the frustration in him. They gave up a lot of the entire core to get Durant, so anything but a title is a failure. A new owner, Matt Ishbia, I still don't think I'm saying his name right, but he thought it was embarrassing as well because they got rid of Monty Williams. Williams led the Suns to the finals just 3 years ago, but after back-to-back losses in the Western Conference semifinals, they're going elsewhere. But yeah, we'll see where Monty lands up. Some are even saying the Raptors. Well, we'll see. He's a good coach. He'll bounce back. But stay in the West. We'll go to a Battle of California. The Kings are already gone, so this was the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. The Lakers won it in six. The Warriors couldn't replicate last year's magic, and they find themselves going home much earlier than they're used to. Right? Be a long off season too. Like, what are they going to do with Draymond? Like, are they already regretting the money they threw at Jordan Poole? They gave him big cash, and he was non-existent. Well, I guess he was existent at times, and it was not good. But people go back to the beginning of the year, where that video came out of Draymond just boom hitting Poole. That was such a punch, and they're saying maybe that had something to do with it. Who knows? They're done now, so we'll worry about them as time comes. But Anthony Davis, he really was a difference maker in the series. The Lakers went as he went. When he struggled, they lost. When he played like he's capable of, even under that, because his defensive presence, I was watching it with a buddy of mine. I'm like, he's blocking shots like he's back in Kentucky. This is crazy. But yeah, give it to them. Rob Pelinka changed up the team. I saw the clip circulating of Kendrick Perkins, of all people, saying how this team at the deadline has a chance to make a run. Everybody laughed at him. RJ, Malik Andrew, they're all laughing at him. But man, I gotta tip my hat to the Lakers. So we're gonna have a rematch with the 2020 Western Conference Finals, the old bubble life. And I've doubted them all playoffs. I picked against them, and I'm gonna pick against them again. I'm picking the Nuggets to win this one. But LeBron's gonna make me eat my words again. We'll see. But that series starts Tuesday, May 16th in the Mile High City. Heading out east. Heading out east. We only had one series go to seven, and that was the Sixers and the Boston Celtics. The Sixers had a chance to close it in Game 6, but late game heroics by Jason Tatum having an awful game just lit it up right near the end to force Game 7, where Doc Rivers coming into this game was 6-9. So people are like, man, he's in a lot of games, and man, he's not always winning them. And it was a pretty close Game 7 until like a minute into the third quarter, and the Celtics just boom took off. It was insane, 33-10, I believe they outscored them in the third, and Jason Tatum's went bananas, dropping 51 points, a new Game 7 record. A few podcasts ago, I talked about Steph Curry setting a Game 7 record with 50 points, and Tatum's like, hold my beer. And then he just went off for it. His mom was in the crowd for Mother's Day. It was crazy. So Sixers are going home again, and Embiid, the MVP, took it like a champ, throwing his team under the bus, saying it's not a 2-on-5 game, it's a 5-on-5 game, and just saying he and Harden can't do it alone. I mean, you can say that after you have a dominating game, maybe, but he played very mediocre to go out like that, throw the team under the bus. We'll see if Doc Rivers has a job in a few days. They seem to be firing coaches like hotcakes this offseason, so we'll see. Going out, or sorry, there was only one round left, or one matchup left in the round, and it was the Heat and the Knicks, and we have the eight-seeded Knicks going to the playoffs, or sorry, going to the Eastern Conference Final. They seem to get every loose ball. They just, after one game, Julius Randle's like, they just wanted more, and he wasn't lying, and he didn't change his mentality to swing that their way. Like, Jalen Brunson balled out. He looked like the real deal, but RJ Barrett was giving the ball away like crazy. Julius Randle disappeared. Didn't see him. And yeah, not a good way to go out. It's only been 50 years since the last title, but Knick fans are already calling for Randle to get traded this offseason. They're a pretty wild fan base, but yeah, they're gonna have to wait another year. So we have another 2020 conference final rematch: the Heat and the Celtics. I've never really been a fan of either team, uh, but I'm gonna pick the Heat. I'm gonna pick them to go to the finals, to be the first number 8 seed to reach the finals since the '99 Knicks. But that was a shortened lockout season. which my San Antonio Spurs won. Tim Duncan, boom. But to all those people that said, those bubble playoffs, that wasn't a real playoffs. They should get an asterisk. That's not real basketball. Well, we have the same four teams as the bubble, so I don't think that was a joke. I think these teams are, legit. Let's enjoy the basketball. They also announced the All NBA teams during the week, so I'll quickly go through those. Few surprises for this for this tier's team. A few newcomers. At forward, you had Giannis Antetokounmpo from the Bucks, Jason Tatum balled out from the Celtics. At center, you had MVP, throw you under the bus, Joel Embiid from the Sixers. The two guard positions, you had Dallas Mavs, Luka Doncic. Haven't heard his name in so long. It feels weird not even having the playoffs, but so be it. And then my boy, you heard him in episode 2 because I rocked his jersey number. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander from the OKC Thunder. He grew up in Hamilton, Ontario. So pumped he made that team. And there's already tons of debate on who isn't on the first team, who should be replaced. And we'll go to the second NBA team, and this guy's name is usually on the first team, but he's on the second one this year. Stephen Curry from the Golden State Warriors, Donovan Mitchell from the Cleveland Cavaliers. Mitchell already went on social media with the fuck out of here announcement post. Draymond has reached out saying, hey, if you're saying that, who do you think you should replace on that first team? I'm interested to know as well. And at center, you have Nikola Jokic, which is very strange that he's on the second team. But with the format, they go two guards, two formats, one center. And you can only have one center on the first team. So you're going to have the MVP, Embiid. Still strange to say Nikola Jokic guiding his team in the conference finals is a second team NBA. But so be it. To round up the team, you have Jimmy Butler going to the Eastern Conference Finals for the Miami Heat. And Jaylen Brown, who's also going to the Eastern Conference Finals. So a lot of All-NBA players involved there, I guess. Well, not a lot, a few, I guess. All-NBA third team, you have Julius Randle from the Knicks, The way I was just talking about him in the previous segment, you would think he had no part of being on this team, but he had an excellent regular season, but dropped it in the playoffs again. We'll see what happens with him going forward. But, yeah, the other spot at forward goes to LeBron James. 19th NBA, All-NBA team in 20 years. Like, what? Longevity. Like, playing at a high level the entire time. It's madness, I say. But center, we go to Domantas Sabonis. Sacramento Kings, his first All-NBA nod. Kings bounce back. First time in the playoffs in years. And Sabonis was a big part of it. The guard positions, you have Sabonis' teammate, De'Aaron Fox. That's amazing. Two players on the All-NBA third team. It shows that they were the real deal this year. And I hope with Mike Brown they progress next year and get even better. But and the final spot, went to Damian Lillard of the Portland Trailblazers. Another down year for the Blazers, but Lillard balled out. He did get shut down at the end of the year because of injuries, but it is what it is. We'll see what the Blazers do next year and if Lillard's going to continue to have loyalty and want to be there. They did have the All-NBA defensive team. Quick go through that. First team, Chicago Bulls guard Alex Caruso, Drew Holiday of the Bucks, Drew Holiday's teammate at center, Brook Lopez. Forwards, Jaren Jackson of the Grizzlies, who did win Defensive Player of the Year, and Evan Mobley of the Cavaliers. And this is like Mobley's second year, so to be on this is good for him. The Cavs got a good one in him. And the all-second team, Derek White of the Celtics. Celtics are all over these teams. And Dylan Brooks, I mentioned him getting released by the Grizzlies. He was on the team. At forwards, you have Draymond Green, Toronto Raptors OG Anunoby, and at center, you had Bam Adebayo. So all NBA, all defensive teams, pretty good players, and they're a part of it, good accolades, and it helps them get bigger contracts. So, yeah, good on them. From the NBA to the NHL, I spoke of that wild Knick fan base and how they think they deserve to win a title every year. I think that's a perfect segue to go into the Toronto Maple Leafs. They were so pumped getting out of the first round, first time since 2004. They were sent home in 5 games by the Panthers. They went up 3-0. And they're like, maybe, hey, there's still a chance, but not so much. They were knocked out in overtime in the deciding game and keep the drought even longer. 1967, the last time the Leafs hoisted the cup. The other East matchup was the Devils and Carolina Hurricanes. Another 5-game series. Canes winning it 4-1. kind of a weird series. All the games were blowouts except for the deciding game, which went to overtime. And then the Canes were like, "Hey, Devils, go to the golf course. You're done." So you have the ultimate underdogs, Florida Panthers, knocking off two original six teams to get here, going up against Carolina Hurricanes. But I see the Hurricanes ending the Cinderella run and advancing, but we'll see. And much like Feifel, we'll go west. The Edmonton Oilers, my only remaining pick left in the playoffs, is gone. Yes, the Las Vegas Golden Knights took care of the Oilers, winning the series 4-2. I don't know at times the Oilers looked like the real deal, but another disappointing year for them. Like you have the best player in the league and one of the best scorers in Draisaitl. I just Yeah, that's got to be tough. There's still one more matchup left, and the only one going to seven. Seattle Kraken extended the series in Game 6, sending it back to Dallas. And that's going to take place Monday, May 15th. The crowd in Dallas will be rocking, and yeah, we'll see if the Kraken can get to a conference finals in only their second year of existence. Oh man, we had Champions League earlier this week as well. Our first leg of the semifinals. Real Madrid, Man City played to a 1-1 draw on the Bernabeu. Both amazing goals. But second leg takes place Wednesday, May 17th at the Etihad in Manchester. That should be an amazing game with two giants going head to head. The other matchup was the Battle of Milan. You had Inter Milan taking on AC Milan. Inter Milan jumped out to a 2-0 league in the first leg. Second leg takes place on Tuesday, May 16th. I believe Man City will win it and go to the final, and I think Inter Milan will hold on, meet them in the final. But we'll see. Well, as you see with my predictions, I like to talk them, but not always right. Wow, that almost killed me even talking about predictions, but still here. Well, quick jump to the Premier League. Man City continues the clobber opponents. Everton were the latest victims, losing 3-0, but it's looking like Manchester City's got their another title, especially with Arsenal losing this weekend as well. The Brighton 3-0. Yeah, frustrating for Gunner fans. For a while it looked like the title was theirs. They just had to end it, but they have the youngest club in the Premier League, so they can build off this, use this. Sometimes you got to fail before you can succeed, right? We heard Giannis's compassionate press conference when people asked if this season was a failure. That's the attitude they got to use going forward, and I hope they do because they're a good young team. I'd like to see them do better, but it's looking like Manchester City might get the title. We'll see. There's still a few games to go. It's not official, but it's pretty close. Started from the top, we'll go to the bottom. Southampton, they're already going down. It's been by the numbers, they can't stay in the Premier League, so that's 11 consecutive years. But now they're going down. Leeds and Leicester are the other teams in the relegation spots, but they're just behind Nottingham Forest and Everton, and there's a few games to go, like I said. So each game is a terrifying possible nightmare because your team might drop. I've had it happen to West Ham once. It's weird. You go from the top league to the bottom, and some teams never bounce back, and then you get stuck in this footy purgatory. But anyway, speaking of, I don't want to talk down to the Championship EFL League, but we'll go to that league right now. We'll talk about the teams possibly coming up. Burnley, they dominated all season. They're coming up. Sheffield United secured second position. They're coming up. But I mentioned three teams go up, and the two are decided. The third is decided by a little playoff. It's a little two-leg playoff. And yeah, it was Luton Town against Sunderland. Sunderland won 2-1. And the other game was Coventry and Middlesbrough. They drew. So each of those second legs are coming up next week. The winner of each will play in the final on the weekend, and that winner goes to the Premier League. That's so crazy. Have one game push you up to another league, and it makes the club millions of dollars just to be in that league. So it's crazy what you can get. You can get that sweet, sweet joy of moving up, or that crushing defeat, and like, okay, we got to try again next year. Jeez. Love it. Jumping around Europe, we already said Napoli had won the Serie A title, And now La Liga has their champion. Barcelona beat Espanyol 4-2 this weekend to win their first title in 4 years. They were celebrating on the pitch, but then the Espanyol fans started storming, so Barcelona had to run off. It was crazy, but I guess that's the trouble with winning on the road. But good on Barcelona. Xavi returned as manager after being a player there for years and being a legendary figure. He managed them to a title, so good on them. A lot of the other leagues, they haven't been decided yet. There's some tight races and a few games to go. We'll see. And not everyone was obviously in that title race, but if you're in those top positions, you can get Champions League berths, which again makes the team tons of money and, gets you played in Europe. Good on you. But yeah, before I jump off footy here, I mentioned National League all year and Wrexham's climb to EFL. Their biggest rival all year, Notts County, had to go through a playoff, much like other teams I had mentioned before. And in this playoff, they played at Wembley in the final against Chesterfield. No, not your coach, Chesterfield. And yeah, it went to penalties. Notts County had their backup keeper in, make some big saves, and Notts County won, deservedly so. They and Wrexham are the best team all year, so it's cool that they're both moving up to the EFL together. And Wrexham owners already reached out and congratulated Notts County on their promotion, so that's pretty cool. With all this playoff madness and footy wrapping up, I haven't mentioned a lot of baseball, but I still watch shortened versions of the Blue Jay games each morning, and they had a pretty good series against the Pirates. They swept them in 3 games, but then they followed that up by getting swept by the Phillies at home, and then they ended their interleague matchups by beating the Atlanta Braves. Danny Jansen hit a walk off to in the last game to earn the sweep, so that's some big wins. Their next series are against the New York Yankees at home, and the AL East is still like the best division in baseball, like it always is. All the teams are above 500. Tampa Bay Rays are leading the league, leading the division, and in the National League, you got the Dodgers and the Braves leading the NL. So good win by the Jays there. And sticking with Toronto, they had a pretty big event over the weekend as well. They had a WNBA preseason game. As you know, I love basketball, and I'm going to promote it all the time. And I think women's game is growing and growing. So I'm going to get behind it. The amount of comments I saw, like, oh yeah, she's better in the kitchen. It's like, man, just let these ballers ball. Put the haterade down. Let them ball. Let them do their thing. 19,800 people, sold out crowd in Toronto to watch the Sky beat the Minnesota Lynx. So I think it's good. Let them ball. If you don't like it, just don't shit on it. Let them do their thing. That's my 2 cents, and I think with that showing, Toronto might show they might get a WNBA team, and I think it could work. But a quick jump to football, you're like, football? What? NFL doesn't start till September 7th, when the Chiefs take on the Lions in the season opener. But there was a football championship this weekend. The XFL champions. Yes, the Arlington Renegades, led by Oklahoma Sooners legend Bob Stoops. The Renegades defeated the DC Defenders. The Renegades were the only team under 500 going into the playoffs, but they showed what underdogs can do, winning 35-26 at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. So I'm not going to lie, I did not watch a lot of XFL this year, but they did good. The Renegades won. I like it because my name is in the beginning of that word. So good on them. Some other big events coming up before the next recording. Second major of the year, the PGA Championship starts on Thursday upcoming at the Oak Hill Country Club in Rochester, New York. Like I said, second major of the year, so that's pretty big. F1 also returns next weekend in Italy for the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix. And fishing's a sport. Fishing season's open in Saskatchewan here. I've already caught a few walleye and a sucker, so get those lines in the water, right? It's sort of athletic, right? You got to work your cast, walking down there, but it's good times. But it's pretty wild sports wrap up. Now let's jump to some shorts. And I mentioned earlier, this is Mother's Day weekend, so I thought these stories wouldn't just be about me. We'd have, instead of one short, we'd have a few short shorts. Who likes short shorts? I like short shorts. Okay. First one I'll go with. This one I talked to her on Mother's Day, obviously. You can call your mother. And this one I was already laughing when I was talking to her about it. We were at a hotel, I believe it was like the Sheraton. We traveled a lot as kids, staying in hotels and stuff. And uh I remember there was this cool you know, I don't know, like a gym, like a jungle gym kind of setup. It was really cool. It looked like caves and shit. And you'd have this orange, like tunneled slide. It was really cool. And like as kids, we thought this was the tits. And it was near my dad after going through the slide. And then this lady is like, or no, sorry, this kid to his mom was like, yeah, there's some big lady is stuck in the slide and no one can get around her. And my dad's looking around. He's like, oh shit. And yeah, sure enough, my mom, she was wanting to come down the slide with us, make sure we were safe or something, but she was a little bigger than she is now. She's not that big. She's a nice lady, nice smaller lady, but yeah, we she got stuck in there and kids were like on The Simpsons when Homer gets stuck and they just start sending kids down in the water slide. It was kind of a situation like that. And they ended up kind of, jarring her loose and she came out and she went like super tomato red and immediately wanted to leave. But oh man, it was amazing. And another one we'll go to is in Canada's Wonderland. Uh, Amazing place in Ontario. And we were there and there was this little like dragon ride. It's a small, like, it had the looks of a small child roller coaster, but I think that's even a stretch. This thing did not move fast. It was, I think, to integrate smaller children in enjoying rides. But anyway, for some reason, my mom wanted to come on here because she thought it was dangerous for some reason. The cartoon alligator had that look to him. But we were going, and we couldn't make it up the first little hump there. We'd keep going and we'd come back. We'd go, and then finally the person came and was like, I'm sorry, but we're gonna have to get you to get off the ride. And again, mom went super red, just like a tomato. Us gingers, when we show a little embarrassment, we show it. So she got off. They backed it up. She got off. And sheepfully waited to the side. I felt so bad, but it was kind of funny too. But you don't want to laugh. But she, so sorry about that, mom. But yeah, that was that was a funny one. And I got another one here too. This was pretty ridiculous. Sometimes I chew my nails. I chew them around the side here, especially younger, just like some kind of feral animal. And I'd get like a hangnail, and sometimes I wouldn't really take care of it. It'd get like, it'd look a little green, like this is getting infected kind of thing. And I'd show her. I showed my mom, and she's like, "Oh, geez." And the one day, like I came up, I had to do something with it. I was like 16 or something, 15. I come up in my boxer shorts, whatever. I'm at home. She's looking at it. She's like, "Okay, this is what we'll do." She put like a warm cloth on it to draw it all up. And I'm like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I see it now." And then she lit like a sewing needle kind of deal to sterilize it. She like lit it, like did that. And then like we were by the sink, had like a towel underneath, and she's like, "Okay, I'm just gonna poke it here to get this pus out." And I don't know, I was watching her do it, and as she pushed it in there and I was watching it come out, I was like, "Oh, I feel kind of like I'm gonna throw up." So I backed up and I went to like run to the bathroom from the kitchen, and I guess I went a few steps and I kind of did the old stumble-roo. And my parents used to have these doors at their house in front of the washer dryer. And I just, like, I'm not a small guy. Even as a teenager, I look like I ate a few fridge worths of food each day. But I fell right through these doors. And, like, there were these little latches that kind of lock the doors as you close them. They kind of sink together. And that sliced my arm. And I was laying there, my boxers right through there. Like, I was out for a second. I just fainted hard. And, yeah, I'm laying there. I'm kind of coming to. I'm laying. This door's just trashed. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And my brother, I think, was staying with us at the time, and my older brother, and he looks and he's like, "What the fuck's going on?" And he's like, "Your goddamn dick's hanging out." And I looked down, and I had a flap in the boxers, and sure as shit, my shit's hanging out. As I'm coming to, I'm like, ah. And I'm like, Jesus, putting my junk away, cleaning up the blood, looking at my finger. But yeah, that was a wild series of events. But mom was there through and through, being a good sport. So love you, mom. Happy Mother's Day. If you guys have your mothers around, reach out, say thank you for being there. Thanks for doing your thing. We appreciate it. We appreciate all what moms do. And yeah, moms of animals, moms of people, moms of plants. Shit. You got that mom feeling? Good on you. Happy Mother's Day. Well, that's episode 10 in the books. Like I said, double digits. Bam, bam, bam. So I'm excited about that. Thanks for coming along and enjoying the ride. Enjoy lots of conference final stuff coming up this week. And like I said, you have footy coming to an end in many different leagues. Everybody, enjoy the nice weather if you got it. And thanks for coming out. Have a good one. Ren City out.